it's incredible because while they try to paint Ahmaud Arbery as some sort of savage, right? Let's talk about who the real savages are here. I would argue the real savages in this country, not just this trial, not just this case, but in this country, are the people who prioritize private property and protecting private property over protecting human lives. There's no evidence that Ahmaud Arbery engaged in any type of criminal activity or that he burglarized a house that was under construction. No evidence whatsoever. But even if there was evidence, who cares? That justifies shooting and killing people because of precious material items? Really? I would argue that's the savage behavior. Savages don't value human lives. That's what savages are. Okay, that woman right there, she's the real savage who's trying to justify the murder of a man who was jogging by referencing his toenails, when in reality what she's doing is justifying the murder of a person who did absolutely nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong. And I mean, I don't know, since we're just picking on random things to justify murdering people, I don't like that suit she's wearing. Look at that ugly suit she's wearing. Yeah, I don't know. Well, how would you guys feel about that woman walking into your house wearing that ugly ass suit?
Not even your house, your neighborhood. If she's walking in the neighborhood.
I would not want to see her walking on the sidewalk in front of my home wearing that ugly suit.
And if she doesn't have a pedicure, I mean, she looks like a savage. Now, you don't want to turn her into a victim. Look, guys, we don't want any of that. We don't want any of that. We don't want lawlessness. We don't want chaos. But we're tired
We're there.
We're tired of right-wing terrorism that has been done in this country for centuries. Look, I don't want to, when they attack black people after they've been murdered, when they did absolutely nothing wrong, you're pushing us to the limit. And what do I mean by that? You're asking us to talk about history, the history of the South. This is in Georgia. What happened in Georgia? There were savages in Georgia. It was the ancestors of the white right-wingers. They were absolute savages. They murdered people, they lynched people, they raped people, they enslaved people. They took babies from their mothers and sold them as property. You want to talk about savages? Your ancestors were the biggest savages the world has ever seen. So don't you dare call a black man a savage after you murdered him. Don't you dare do that. I'm so sick of African Americans being called violent when the world's worst violence was done to them, not by them, to them, not by them. For God's sake, you want to do racist stereotypes? If it fit anywhere, and it doesn't, but if it fit anywhere, it would certainly fit white right-wingers in the South, who has hundreds of years of history of being savages. Savages. They snatched babies. And they sold them as property and they raped their mothers. Savages. That's what they were. You want to talk about stereotypes? Screw all of you who still defend that Confederacy, that monstrosity. Anyone who defends that is a barbaric savage.
That's why they don't want to teach American history in public schools. That's why there's been a strong orchestrated effort to prevent the teaching of anything that you just mentioned right now. Because, hey, God forbid that, children learn about the real savages in this country's history, right? Let's go ahead and dehumanize people over their toenails, but let's also erase the part of our history that, yes, is dark, that's awful, but is the truth.
You know what white right-wingers did in the South? And they did this for hundreds of years. In a lynching, they not only hung the person, they burned the person, and then they cut off their genitalia. And in the midst of doing all this, I swear to God, you could look it up in the history books. They had a picnic around the body. And then they would take home pieces of the charred body for memorabilia. They would have their kids, go pick pieces of the body off. And then after they did all of that, they had the temerity to call black people violent. No more, no more. You don't ever get to call a black person violent. You don't ever get to do that. So if you're a white right-winger in the South, don't cry about, oh no, my beloved ancestors. Your ancestors were not beloved. They weren't. They were monsters. So I said it because it's true. How you react to that is up to you. You can say, hey, that was terrible. They shouldn't have done that. Let's get better. Or you can say, I kind of love that history. That proves you are just as racist. You just don't get to do it anymore the way that you want. And that's why when you see cases like this and you see a black man murdered, you think, nah, boy, go get him. Go get the way to go, defense. So that's the right wing in this country. And I'm sick of babying them. Oh my God, did we hurt your feelings? I don't care about hurting your feelings. You guys have done racist stereotypes against every minority my entire life. My entire life, all I've ever dealt with is your stupid racist stereotypes, and we're all sick of it.